What if I told you there was a story so dangerous, so forbidden, that it was buried for centuries? A story that reveals why heaven and earth were torn apart, why angels became demons, and why humanity was cursed with secrets it was never meant to know. This is the story the ancients whispered about in fear, the descent of the Watchers, the fallen angels, as told in the Book of Enoch. It begins long before the flood, in the days when mankind was young and the earth was still pure. High above the world in the shining halls of heaven, a group of angels gazed down at mankind. They were called the Watchers, sent by God to observe, to guide from afar, but never to interfere. But as they looked upon human women, their hearts burned with desire. What was forbidden began to take root. And among them rose a leader, Semjaza. He was powerful, charismatic, and determined. But he was also afraid that if he acted, he would be punished. Yet his desire overcame fear. He whispered to his brothers, "Let us descend and take for ourselves wives among the daughters of men. Let us know them, and from them let children be born unto us." But hesitation spread. The Watchers knew this was rebellion, a direct violation of heaven's law. Semjaza saw their doubt and bound them with an oath. "Swear with me, bind yourselves together. If one of us falls, then all shall fall." And they agreed. 200 angels swore upon the mountain called Hermon, sealing their fate. So began the great descent. The skies cracked with fire. From heaven to earth they fell, not as comets, but as beings of light, clothed in glory yet stained with disobedience. The humans looked upon them with awe, mistaking rebellion for divinity. The Watchers took wives. From this union came monstrous offspring, the Nephilim, giants, titans of terror who devoured everything in their path. They were not bound by heaven or earth, but by hunger and blood. They consumed the crops, the animals, even the flesh of men. The world trembled beneath their feet. But the corruption did not stop there. Azazel, one of the fallen, taught men how to forge swords, knives, and armor. Violence spread like wildfire. Blood stained the ground. Another taught enchantments and root cuttings. Another taught astrology. Another taught the art of cosmetics, painting the faces of women, turning beauty into a weapon. The secrets of heaven meant to remain hidden were now in mortal hands. Knowledge became corruption. And mankind was enslaved, not by chains, but by temptation. The cries of the earth rose to heaven. The blood of men, the tears of women, the screams of the innocent reached the throne of God. And the Most High heard. Enoch, the righteous scribe, walked among men during these dark days. Unlike others, he had not turned to the way of the Watchers. His heart was pure, and so God chose him as a messenger, a bridge between heaven and earth. Enoch was lifted up in visions, carried into the heavenly realms where the archangels, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel, stood in sorrow at what had become of creation. Michael spoke, "The earth has been defiled. The cries of mankind reach us without end. The Nephilim spread ruin, and the Watchers teach corruption. We must act, but judgment belonged to God alone." Enoch was commanded to write, to bear witness, to deliver a message to the fallen ones. Imagine standing before beings of pure power, giants who once commanded the stars, and telling them their fate was sealed. That was Enoch's task. He wrote the decree, "You will have no peace, no forgiveness. Your sons, the Nephilim, shall destroy one another until none remain. And you, O Watchers, shall be bound in the valleys of the earth, in darkness, until the day of judgment." When the Watchers heard, they trembled. They begged Enoch to intercede, to plead with God on their behalf. They wept bitterly, but heaven was silent. Mercy was denied. And so the punishment began. The archangels descended. Raphael bound Azazel hand and foot, casting him into a pit, covering him with sharp stones. Michael struck down the Nephilim with sword and storm. Gabriel stirred their armies into chaos, turning them against one another. Brother killed brother until rivers of blood ran across the land. The mighty Nephilim, once invincible, fell one by one. Their spirits, unfit for heaven or earth, became the wandering demons that plague mankind to this day. Restless, hungry, never satisfied. The watchers themselves were chained, cast into the depths, imprisoned until the final judgment, when fire will consume them forever. And humanity, broken, scarred, but alive. The earth, once corrupted, would be cleansed by the great flood in the days of Noah, a flood that would wash away the last remnants of the fallen angels' rebellion. But the story does not end here, for Enoch was shown visions of the future, visions of final judgment, of the coming of the Son of Man, of a kingdom where justice would reign. But that is a story for another time. This was the beginning, the descent of the Watchers, the sin that brought giants to the earth, demons to our world, and death to mankind. The Book of Enoch was hidden, forbidden because it revealed too much, about angels, about demons, about us. Now you know what they tried to keep buried. If you want to hear the next part of this forbidden saga, the secrets of Enoch's visions, and the fate of the fallen, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and join me in the next chapter of this dark, hidden history. Because the story of Enoch is far from over.